I asked 100 married couples what they remember most about their wedding day. Not one person said the napkin color. Not one person mentioned the exact shade of their flowers or whether the centerpieces were 3 inches too tall. But you know what they did remember? 5 very specific things that probably aren't even on your current wedding stress list. And here's the kicker. The 5 things you're probably losing sleep over right now, the things that are eating up your budget and your sanity, yeah, those barely registered on anyone's memory radar. If you don't know who I am, my name is Marie Hansen. I'm a budget wedding planner who helps you have the wedding of your dreams for a price you can actually afford. Today I'm sharing the 5 things that actually matter on your wedding day according to real couples, plus the 5 things you're probably stressing about that literally don't matter. And I promise you, understanding the difference will not only save you thousands of dollars, but it'll actually make your wedding day infinitely more meaningful and memorable. All right, what actually matters? Number 1, your vows and ceremony. Sarah told me something that stopped me in my tracks. I remember every single word of his vows, but I couldn't tell you what color the bridesmaids wore if my life depended on it. This is the only part of your entire wedding day that's actually about getting married. Everything else is just a party. Yet most couples spend maybe an hour total thinking about their vows and ceremony while spending weeks agonizing over napkin colors. Here's what I tell my clients. Your ceremony is your foundation. If your ceremony is meaningful and personal, everything else becomes decoration. If your ceremony feels rushed or generic, even the most beautiful reception won't make up for it. Spend real time writing your vows that mean something to both of you if you're not of a religion that has prescripted vows. Don't just download generic vows from Pinterest. Think about why you're choosing this person, what promises you actually want to make, and what you want your guests to witness about your relationship. And here's a budget tip that nobody talks about. The most meaningful ceremonies often cost the least. Some of the most memorable weddings had ceremonies in their church, backyards, public parks, or even family living rooms. What made them special wasn't the venue, it was the intentionality. Before we dive into number 2, and this one might actually surprise you, hit that subscribe button because next week I'm sharing vendor red flags that will save you thousands of dollars. Plus, I've got some major announcements coming about ways to work with me that you don't want to miss. Okay, number 2 is food that tastes good. Notice I didn't say fancy food, I said good food. There is a massive difference, and your budget will thank you for understanding it. Nobody remembers a beautiful cake that tasted like cardboard, but they'll talk about amazing food for years. My client Jake decided to skip the traditional catering and served his grandma's famous chili and cornbread at his October wedding. 3 years later, it still gets mentioned at every family gathering. Another couple, Emma and David, were quoted $150 per person for their preferred caterer. Instead, they found a local taco truck that charged $12 per person and got rave reviews from every single guest. The savings? Over $8,000 that they put toward their honeymoon. Here's the thing about wedding food. People remember how it made them feel, not how it looked on Instagram. Comfort food that's executed well will always beat fancy food that's mediocre. Your guests want to enjoy their meal and feel taken care of. They don't need beef Wellington if what they really want is really good pizza. And honestly, good pizza from your favorite local place will be infinitely more memorable and popular than expensive generic wedding chicken. The key is choosing food that reflects you as a couple and ensuring it's prepared well. Whether that's your mom's lasagna recipe scaled up for 100 people or the best barbecue joint in town, authenticity beats elegance every single time. Number 3 was the people who show up. This is exactly why guest list stress is actually working through. Lisa said something that made me tear up. She said, I look at our photos and remember exactly how it felt to have everyone we love in one room. That feeling was worth everything. Your guest list isn't just about numbers or budget. It's about creating that once-in-a-lifetime moment where all the people who matter to you are celebrating your love together. This is why I always tell couples that quality over quantity wins every single time. I've planned weddings for 30 people that felt more full of love than weddings for 300. The difference wasn't the head count, it was the intentionality behind who was invited. Here's what I want you to consider. Would you rather have 150 people where half of them you haven't spoken to in 2 years, or 75 people who you genuinely can't imagine celebrating without? The smaller guest list not only cuts your costs dramatically, but it creates a more intimate, meaningful experience for everyone. And here's something nobody talks about. The people who truly love you will remember being included far more than anyone will remember being left out. Your real friends understand that weddings have budgets and space limitations. Don't let guilt about potentially hurt feelings drive you to invite people who won't add joy to your day. This is one of the few times in your life where it's not only okay to be selective, it's necessary. Number 4 was photos that capture real moments. I'm not just talking about post shots here. I'm talking about photos that capture the actual story of your day, the candid moments. Your dad crying during your vows, even though he swore he wouldn't. Your best friend's speech that had everyone laughing until their sides hurt. Your new spouse laughing at something during dinner. Your grandmother dancing with your little nephew. Photos like these. These are the photos you'll actually look at in 5 years. Not the perfectly posed group shot where everyone's looking at the camera, but the one where your brother is making faces in the background and your mom is fixing your veil. Here's what this means for your budget. You need a photographer who understands storytelling, not just pretty pictures. This might mean choosing someone whose style feels authentic over someone whose Instagram looks the most polished. Some of the best wedding photographers I work with aren't the most expensive ones. They're the ones who focus on capturing genuine emotion and real moments. They're in the right place at the right time because they understand the magic that happens between the pose shots. When you're interviewing photographers, don't just look at their highlight reel. Ask to see full wedding galleries. Do the photos tell the story of the day? Can you feel the emotion? Do they capture the personality of the couple? These are way more important questions than do they have the latest equipment? Number 5 was the feeling of joy. I know this one sounds cheesy, but literally every single couple mentions this when they talk about what they remember most. It's the relaxed, happy energy that comes from not stressing about details on the actual day. Maria told me, I remember feeling so present and happy. Nothing went wrong because I wasn't focused on things going wrong. I was just soaking up every moment. This feeling doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you've planned well enough that you can let go of the day itself. It happens when you prioritize the things that actually matter and made peace with the things that don't. Here's the truth. Something will go wrong on your wedding day. The flowers might be slightly different than expected. The timeline might run a few minutes behind. Someone might spill something on their outfit. But if you focused on the meaningful stuff, these little hiccups become funny stories instead of day-ruining disasters. The couples who have the most joyous weddings are the ones who understand that the goal isn't perfection, it's celebration. They're not worried about whether everyone looks exactly like their Pinterest board because they're too busy being present with the people they love. This is why I always tell my clients to designate someone else to worry about the details on their wedding day. Whether it's your wedding planner, a reliable family member, or your venue coordinator, someone else should be handling the logistics so you can focus on actually getting married. All right, now let's talk about the things that are keeping you up at night but won't even register in anyone's memory of your wedding day. Number 1, linen color. Unless you choose neon orange or traffic cone yellow, literally no one will remember or care what color your tablecloths were. I've had brides spend weeks going back and forth between champagne and ivory linens, and honestly, your guests will be too busy talking and eating to analyze your table linens. Here's a budget reality check. Specialty linen colors can add $3 to $8 per table to your rental cost. So for a 100-person wedding, that's about $80 extra for something nobody will remember. That money is so much better spent on your photographer or your food. Stick with classic colors that work with your venue and call it done. Whether ivory, white, or even the venue's standard linens, that's perfectly fine, and I promise they'll look great in photos. Number 2 was the centerpiece style. As long as people can talk across the table and the centerpieces don't block sightlines, you're golden. I've seen couples stress for months about whether the centerpieces should be tall or short, round or long, flowers or candles. And the truth, your guests will notice if the centerpieces are tall so they can't see each other or so elaborate that they take up the table space. But the specific style? Nope. Some of my favorite weddings had super simple centerpieces. Single flowers in mason jars, a few candles gathered in a group, or even just a beautiful family photo at each table. The key is that they complement the space without overwhelming it. Save your money and sanity, pick something simple that you like and fits your budget, and move on to things that actually matter. Number 3 is wedding favors. Now, here's a harsh truth. Half of your wedding favors will get left behind, and the other half will end up in junk drawers or donated to Goodwill within 6 months. I've watched couples spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on personalized favors that seemed so important during wedding planning, but were completely forgotten by the actual wedding day. Your guests don't need a miniature picture frame with your wedding date on it. They don't need personalized cozies or little bags of candy with your name on them. What they need is good food, good music, and a chance to celebrate with you. So if you really want to give your guests something, consider a charitable donation in their honor, or just skip favors entirely and put that money towards your bar or photographer. Number 4 was ceremony length. Now, whether your ceremony is 15 minutes or 2 hours, If it's meaningful and personal, it's fine. I've been to beautiful 10-minute ceremonies and meaningful hour-long ceremonies, but the length doesn't determine the impact. What matters is that your ceremony reflects you as a couple and feels intentional. Don't add extra readings or rituals just because you think you should, and don't stress if your ceremony is shorter than someone else's. Your guests want to witness you getting married, not a performance, so just keep it authentic to you, and the length will feel exactly right. Number 5 is perfect weather. Now, some of the most magical weddings I've planned had unexpected weather. Rain on your wedding day doesn't ruin anything. It just gives you different photo opportunities and a great story to tell forever. I had one couple whose outdoor ceremony got moved inside due to a surprise thunderstorm. Instead of being devastated, they embraced it. The intimate indoor ceremony ended up being exactly what they didn't know they wanted, and the rain stopped just in time for cocktail hour on the patio. Another couple had their beach wedding hit by unexpected wind that blew over their ceremony arch. Instead of panicking, they laughed about it and got married anyway. The photos of them laughing together while the arch collapsed in the background are their absolute favorites from the wedding day. So weather is completely out of your control. There's no point in stressing about it. Have a backup plan if you're having an outdoor event, but don't let weather worries steal your joy during the planning process. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Focus your budget and energy on those first 5 things. Your ceremony, good food, the right people, photos that tell your story, and creating space for joy. Everything else will become background noise. When you get these 5 things right, your wedding becomes about what it's supposed to be about. Celebrating your love with the people who matter most to you. The details that seem so important during planning fade away, but the memories around these 5 areas will last forever. This is exactly what I do with couples inside Better Budget Weddings. Instead of getting overwhelmed by endless decisions that don't actually matter, we focus on the things that will make your wedding day meaningful and memorable while staying within your budget. Inside the membership, you get my complete vendor discount directory that can save you thousands on photographers, caterers, and other vendors who understand that good doesn't have to mean expensive. You also get access to our planning calls where you can ask me questions directly and get personalized advice for your specific situation. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you share it with another person you know who is engaged and getting married. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Remember, your wedding day should be about celebrating your love, not stressing about napkin colors. Focus on what matters, let go of what doesn't, and you'll have a wedding day that's not only beautiful, but actually meaningful. What's the one thing you've been stressing about that might not actually matter? Let me know in the comments below. I do read every single one, and I love helping you guys work through your wedding planning challenges. I'll see you next week for vendor red flags that you have to watch out for. Until then, happy planning!